So the goal of today's lesson is to be able to investigate variability. What does variability mean? What was that? More than one. So if I say like answers may vary. Yes. More than one answer that you can get. So like all we've been looking at really so far is numerical data. So it could be like the data taken is more than just one number. So how spread out the data is what we're talking about when we talk about variability. So we're going to investigate that using data displays and summary statistics. You'll know that you're successful if you can arrange data sets in order of variability. So in order of spread outness, you could say, given graphic representations. I am recording right now. I'll link it in the slides, just like I always do. So if you're ever absent, check out the videos so that you can get the full experience and not be behind on any aspect. You could always look at the notes too, but I feel like things just get lost in translation. So highly recommend the videos. That's why I take time to record them every day. Sometimes I also put helpful videos from last year in here too. So if you don't learn well from like activity-based learning, which is what we're doing pretty much all year, if you work better from someone just telling you exactly how to do something, like me, then I'll have videos in here that either I made or that someone else made that achieves that. The practice is going to be a puzzle piece because today is a short day, and also tomorrow after your testing, it'll be a short class period. You should hopefully have time tomorrow. All just depends on how fast we get through the activities, so we'll see. Otherwise, whatever you don't finish is homework, so just keep that in mind. Some of you might have a lot of homework because you're not getting anything done in class. The homeworks really aren't that long. It's like 5 to 7 questions, but if you are, just guessing through them, then that's not good. You should be shooting for an 80% or higher. So you get 2 attempts. If you're still not at that 80% mark, then ask for more attempts and I'll give it to you, unless I think you're guessing. If you're spending like 30 seconds on an assignment, I'm not going to give you a third attempt or so forth. I have been pulling people to take the quiz today that they missed. Just know that the expectation is anytime you're absent, you take the assessment you missed on the day you return. So how you know if you missed an assessment, check the slides. They're always listed in advance. So you'll know because they're in this little slideshow. So even if you're not ready, I do still pull you because that's better than a 0 or a missing in the assessment category. You can always retake something. And once I get all the scores in, we can talk about that a little bit more in depth. But there's usually some sort of remediation assignment that goes along with that, which is basically like extra work to make sure that you're prepared for the retake. So that way, when you do a retake, you're not just wasting your time or mine for that matter, because you only get to retake stuff once. All right, so that way to make sure that you're prepared. These other test dates will probably be pushed back. Highly doubt that we will get to the Unit 1 test on Friday. It'll probably be sometime next week, just still scheduling everything and seeing when we have time. But I highly doubt it's this Friday, so just know like these days may change. Just check the slides for the most like up to date date. Questions on that? So just make sure we're studying for the unit test. I do not let you use notes because that's how it'll be for your Aspire test. You don't get to use notes on that. So just make sure you're prepared and that you're getting everything from the activity. The paper you should be looking at right now says warm up on it. We always start with some sort of warm up. Today it's called a math talk. So math talks is where you have to evaluate something mentally. So without scratch paper, without a calculator, because usually there's some sort of strategy or pattern you can use, which is the purpose of going through that. It's kind of like making you more fluent at it. So the way that these work, I'm going to show you them one at a time. And then you are going to give me a thumbs up when you have an answer and a strategy for how you found that answer. Not participating just makes these drag on really long. So highly encourage you to participate, even if you get a wrong answer. You can usually learn something from it. Someone else usually has that same answer too. All right, so here's the first one. Don't call out the answer. Just evaluate it mentally without scratch paper, without a calculator. Maybe on your warm up, write down what the problem is and write down whatever I write down. But you're supposed to come up with the mean mentally. So thumbs up when you have an answer and or a strategy. All right, Taylor, what is the mean of the first one? 30. Anyone get something different? And what was your strategy for that, Taylor? Or what made you think that?
I haven't said 30 and 27 because together they would be 60.
All right, and then what did you do after that?
I divided by 3.
Good, so that is a strategy. Maybe add numbers together that work better for you and then like, changing the order of it. Anyone have a different strategy or something that they based it off of? Anyone notice that 27 is 3 away from 30 and 30 is 3 away from 33? So that was another thing that came up earlier. So like consistent pattern, I guess you could say. I don't know how to summarize that, but that they're 3 away from each other. And then therefore the middle number is going to be your average. All right, now I'm going to show you the next one. So yeah, it was 30 to go. Next one. Don't yell out the answer, just thumbs up when you have the mean and a strategy for how you found it and why you can do that. Just be kind. You can tell her was there a line? Yeah. So looking for the mean without a calculator and without scratch work. Thumbs up when you have it. All right. You have the mean. 81. Anyone get something different or disagree? All right, and why do you think it's 81? So if you go left, right, you said, and then what? So is the mean always going to be the same as your median?
No.
No, but is it in this case? Yes. Do you know why that is? So we added the numbers and then divided by how much this time? Because there's 5 data points. Are these numbers easy to add up? Are they easy to divide by 5 mentally? No. Anyone have like another thing that they noticed or explanation strategy? Yes. So each number goes up by 10. So like to the left of the middle number, there's like a difference of 10, 10 to the right, difference of 10, 10. So then we can write that each number goes up by 10. Therefore, it's the middle. Oops, goes up 10. And then we can put us, so that's shorter than therefore. All right. Next one, again, mentally, just call it out. Give me a thumbs up when you have the mean of that data set. A little bit more. Comment, all right. Remind me, is it Alexa, Bailey? Okay, Bailey. You got what? Okay, you want that again? $80. Anyone get something different than 80? All right, and what did you do to figure that out? Good, so add the 100, divide by 5, because there's 5 data points. That was a point of contention earlier. Is 0 a data point? Yes, if it's in the list, it should be considered one. Doesn't change anything for the numerator, but it does add a number to the denominator. Last one. You add the 100. So how many hundreds are there? I was gonna add the 100. That was the strategy. And then down here, last one, when you have the mean, thumbs up, and your strategy. Michael, the mean.
Yeah, I added them up. And then I divided by 5, which is like 6.
You added the number divided by the number of data points, which is 5. Anyone do a different way? All right, now, is there like a consistent pattern going on here?
Kind of.
What do you mean by kind of?
All it goes 5, 6, 7.
So, yes. So from 0 to 5 is how much? And then 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and 7 to 12. Okay, guys, chill out. It's already like hard enough. Like I'm recording. The side chatter makes it work. So you add up the numbers, divide by 5. So the pattern goes 5, 1, 1, 5. So if you kind of investigate that a little bit more and you put it on a number line, and at 0, I'm just gonna count by 5. At 0, 5, 10, 16. If I plot all of these, I have a dot above the 0, dot above the 5, dot above the 6, dot above the 7, and a dot above the 12. Would you say that this data is symmetrical?
No.
Yes. If I draw a line down the middle, is it a mirror image on both sides?
Oh, they're uniform.
Yes, because these are 5 away, these are 5 away, and they're 1 away. So because the data is symmetrical, you also could look at the median being equal to the mean. All right, these numbers are probably easier to just add and divide by 5. So that's another thing you can do. So symmetrical data, the mean is equal to your median. Questions there? All right, so hopefully you took good notes. If not, you could always watch the video later. Yeah, sorry, I forgot that part. So yeah, the answer is 6 for that mean. All right, the next activity we are going to do, we would do a card sort, but not today. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay, sorry, hold on. Here's what we'll do. It's on your paper for 11.3. So the notes you're gonna take, put it under the 11.3 section of your note sheet. And there's basically 4 spaces to put 4 answers. All right, the first question is gonna be this one. So we have the 5 box plots have the same median. So these are the box plots we're talking about. What's the median of all of them?
40.
And you know that because what line on the box plot told you the median? Perfect. So the median of all of these is 40. Are these all the same, like, data? No, they all look a little bit different. So you are going to explain why the median is more appropriate for describing the center of the data versus the mean. All right, when do you use the mean to describe the center of the data? Based on our warm-up. When it's symmetrical, you use the mean. So that kind of answers it. When it's not symmetrical, you use the median. So if I were you taking notes, I would write what I just underlined, so that way you know what notes you're taking, like if you had it later. So I would write, the median is more appropriate for describing the center of the data because the data is not symmetrical. So write what's underlined. The median is more appropriate for describing the center of the data because the data is not symmetrical. If you write just because the data is not symmetrical, you might not understand it. Correct. All right, next thing I'm gonna ask you to do, and you'll put your answer on the number 2 line. You're going to rank these box plots in order from least variability. What does variability mean? More than one option. So like least variability would be least spread out. Or I guess least answers, you could say 2, because then they would be less spread out. So least variability to greatest variability. All right. Least variability to greatest variability, you're just gonna rank them. So whichever one you think is the least spread out. And then second least spread out, all the way until you're at most spread out. I would write what I wrote in the black, but then you still need to answer it. You need to put what you think is the least spread out of the 5 box plots. And then rank them. All right, so out of the 5 box plots, which one do you think is the least spread out? I heard the most say E, I would agree. It's the shortest. And the box itself is really small, so that's a good indicator. What do you think is the second least spread out? Anyone think something else? Anyone say D? So there's 2 options that are both correct. A and D are pretty similar when you're talking about spread out. Like you could say that this one's shorter, so it's the least spread out compared to that one. But you can also look at the box itself and do the IQR. So whether you're looking at the range or the interquartile range, you can make a good argument for both. So there's 2 possible answers. What do you think is the third most spread out or least spread out? So if you said A for the second one, then D would be third. If you said D for the second one, then A would be third. Because again, they're both similar. All right, what's the fourth one? C, and then the last one. So we're saying that B is the most spread out, has the greatest variability. And I would agree, it looks like it starts at like 5-ish and ends around 90-ish. It's longer. But the median is still 40, so that means that there's data spread out all in between that. So good. If you got that right your first try, then great. If not, just make those adjustments, and that'll be your success criteria. All right, now we're on the third question, and we're talking about dot plots this time. So we have these 5 dot plots that all have the same mean. Look at them. What's the mean of all the dot plots? Anyone know? So if you said 10, then you're correct. It's the mean of all the dot plots. Do you know why? Because all of these are symmetrical. So that answers your question 3. So you can, for question 3, you can write the mean is more appropriate for describing the center of the data because they're all symmetrical. All right, when you have data that is symmetrical, the middle number and your mean will be equal to each other. All right, the fourth thing and the last thing you'll do today is to arrange the dot plots in order of least variability. So what does variability mean again? Most different answers, good. So least most different answers to greatest most different answers. So least spread out to most spread out. For number 4, rank the dot plots from least spread out to more spread out. And that's your answer to the 4. So this was your answer to the 3. I would write the sentence so that you know what's going on. And then 4 is ranking these in order from least spread out to most spread out. All right, which one do you think is the least spread out? E. I would agree. There's only one answer on that one. I wonder if that's a statistical question or not. What's the next least spread out? All right, so good. It seems like most of it is centered around the 10. So yeah, less spread out. Next, I would agree. Next, try again. All right, yes, because these are all spread out. They're spread out evenly, but they're still spread out. C is like clustered around two specific parts. What do you call that distribution? Bimodal, good. So that would be the most spread out, I guess you could say. Did I do that backwards? No, this is the answer. This is correct. So I guess this is more spread out because you have the two big extremes on each side.